Welcome to today's Explainer. Look, if you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, or even just someone trying to get a side hustle off the ground, you already know the struggle, the heavy, frankly, crushing weight of overhead costs and time demands. Running a business is exhausting, right? It usually requires wearing a dozen hats all at once. You're the marketer, you're the writer, the designer, the developer, and, the administrative assistant who occasionally has to unjam the printer. But what if you didn't have to be? What if you could build an entire virtual team without paying a single traditional salary? Well, that is exactly what we're looking at today. We are exploring a fascinating case study of an online business owner who drastically cut their overhead using artificial intelligence. Just look at this staggering number right here, $24,000. Now, to be clear, that is not projected revenue, and it isn't some pie-in-the-sky funding goal. This is the exact amount of annual overhead savings our source achieved by systematically replacing repetitive, costly tasks with AI tools. Think about what keeping an extra 24 grand in your business could actually mean for your bottom line. We're talking about roughly $2,000 a month in expenses that were simply eliminated. Poof, gone. For a small business, that isn't just saved cash, that is pure profit added right back into your margins. Okay, let's dive into this old versus new workflow, because this is where the transformation really begins. Back in the day, and by that I literally mean just a couple of years ago, the old workflow was, well, agonizing. Every new project meant bleeding cash. You had to go out and hire freelancers, juggle multiple expensive software subscriptions, and then sit around waiting days or even weeks for revisions. Every single task had a cost, and every mistake cost you even more. But look at the new workflow. With AI assistance, those exact same tasks are completed in minutes. Instead of managing a massive, expensive human team for every small operational task, you're getting a massive cost reduction and incredible speed. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to build out a virtual org chart. First, we'll look at the $24,000 business problem. Then, we'll hire your new creative team, set up your tech department, and automate your operations. Finally, we'll break down the true ROI, which is time. All right, let's jump into section 1, the $24,000 business problem, because every new project used to mean bleeding cash, but now we can tackle this roughly $2,000 monthly deficit head on. Moving right along to section 2, hiring your creative team. Let's start replacing those expensive freelance contracts. Now, what's really interesting about the slide is how neatly these 5 tools map directly onto traditional, highly paid creative roles. We've got ChatGPT stepping in as your full-time writing partner, saving between $300 and $500 a month. Canva AI becomes your graphic designer, saving up to $250. Midjourney is your creative artist, replacing expensive stock photos or custom illustrators to the tune of $200 to $400 a month. Grammarly acts as your meticulous editor, saving $100. And 11 Labs, it becomes your entire voice studio, eliminating the need for professional voiceover artists and saving another $200. You are essentially hiring a 5-person creative agency for a fraction of the cost of just one human freelancer. It's wild. Let's look at exactly what these virtual employees are actually doing for you on a day-to-day basis. ChatGPT isn't just writing from scratch, it's defeating the dreaded blank page. It drafts blogs, emails, and marketing copy, so you can just jump right in and refine it with your own expertise. Canva AI is doing the tedious design work, like removing backgrounds and resizing presentations across different social platforms in literally minutes. Midjourney is out there generating highly unique, custom marketing visuals and YouTube thumbnails completely on demand. Grammarly is running QA, checking your tone and clarity to prevent embarrassing errors before you hit publish. And 11 Labs is generating incredibly natural-sounding AI voices for your courses, podcasts, or video scripts, totally bypassing the need to rent a recording studio. Next up, Section 3, your new tech department. Let's focus on research and development. Just like the creative team, this tech department handles the heavy lifting that usually requires expensive, specialized talent. Claude serves as your dedicated research assistant, saving you about $150 a month by tackling all that heavy reading. Perplexity AI becomes your new hyper-efficient search engine. Now, the source notes the savings here as time is money, simply because it prevents you from falling down the rabbit hole of opening dozens of browser tabs. And finally, Cursor AI steps in as your coding partner, saving an incredible $200 to $500 a month on software developer fees. And this brilliantly illustrates how AI empowers non-professionals to punch way above their weight class. Claude can take a massive, dense PDF report and summarize the key points for you in minutes, saving you literally an entire afternoon of reading. Perplexity doesn't just give you a list of links to click through, it gives you direct answers with the actual sources cited instantly. But Cursor AI,
That might be the most powerful example here. Our source admits they are not a professional developer, not even close. Yet, using Cursor, they can build landing pages, fix bugs, and automate tasks. Even if you only know the absolute basics of programming, having an AI coding partner dramatically increases your technical output without having to hire an expensive dev agency for every tiny little fix.
All right, Section 4, Automating the Operations. It's time to meet the final hires for our virtual team.
Now, these two tools, they are the absolute administrative backbone of the entire operation. Notion AI acts as your second brain, saving you roughly $100 a month. It perfectly organizes the chaos of your business. It takes your messy meeting notes, your project plans, and your content calendars, organizing them seamlessly and summarizing action items to streamline your workflow. The source strongly emphasizes that the mental clarity this provides alone is worth its weight in gold. Then you have Zapier AI acting as your automation manager, pulling in massive savings of $300 to $500 a month. Check out how this roughly $2,000 in monthly savings breaks down across the creative team, the tech department, and operations. Notice how large a slice that operations and automation section is? Zapier is so often the unsung hero of AI tools because, well, it doesn't create flashy content. Instead, it connects your apps. It automatically sends emails, updates spreadsheets, moves files around, and manages your leads. It completely removes the manual, repetitive busy work right off your plate, ensuring the business basically runs itself while you get to focus on what matters, growth. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the true ROI. Because the financial savings are great, but there is a much bigger lesson here. While saving 24 grand a year is absolutely phenomenal, our source actually discovered a much bigger lesson hiding beneath all those financial metrics. Quote, "The biggest surprise wasn't the money I saved, it was how much faster I could execute ideas." This is the ultimate realization for any small business owner. Having ideas, that's easy. Executing them quickly, before the market changes or your competitors beat you to the punch, is incredibly hard, especially when you are bottlenecked by freelancers, budget constraints, and your own limited hours in the day. So, the crucial point is the massive difference in execution speed. Think about it. A blog post that used to take 6 grueling hours now takes just 2. Research that used to eat up an entire day, it's finished in under an hour. A presentation that required hiring a designer and waiting days for a draft can now be totally completed before you even break for lunch. AI did not make this business owner successful overnight. There's no magic button here, but it made them wildly efficient. And efficiency compounds. When you execute 3 times faster, you can test 3 times as many ideas, launch 3 times as many products, and ultimately grow at a pace that was previously impossible for a solo founder. Now, let's be very clear about what this actually means for you and the modern workforce. Is AI going to replace everyone? Probably not. The source points out a really crucial dynamic. The future isn't about humans versus AI. It's about humans who use AI versus humans who don't. The people who know how to effectively pilot these tools will absolutely outperform those who ignore them. But remember, AI isn't magic. It's a tool. It is not going to build a successful business entirely on its own. You are still the pilot. To get these high returns, you have to combine these AI tools with human creativity, deep discipline, and consistent daily execution. And that brings us to our final thought. The entire landscape of business overhead has fundamentally changed. The 10 tools we discussed today, they are just the beginning. They will only get faster, smarter, and more seamlessly integrated. Our source stated that if they had to start completely over today with almost zero budget, these AI tools would be the very first things they install. So I leave you with this question. The tools will continue to evolve. Will you evolve with them? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take a really hard look at your own workflows this week, find those bottlenecks, and figure out which of these virtual team members you need to hire first.